What's going on, everyone? Clep Napier for WeAreCritics.com, and I'm here with my good friend, Chris Lee Fernstrom. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Listen, we're here to talk more movies. More movies. I'm here with the movie chick guys, and we're going to talk about Bike Riders.
Yeah.
It's been being talked about a lot by people.
Huge anticipation.
Directed by Jeff Nicols, who I'm not really that familiar with, but you are familiar with.
Love his work.
So let's run down some of his work.
I loved Midnight Special.
Yeah.
I loved Mud. I loved
know.
Loving. He's worked with some amazing actors. He wrote all three of those movies as well, which I think is amazing. His storytelling is beautiful. So I was really excited to go see the Bike Riders.
I was really excited to see Bike Riders simply just because of the cast.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm familiar with Mike Faist. I love him in Challengers. I loved him in Panic, which a lot of people don't remember. That was the first time I saw him. He was on an Amazon show called Panic.
Yeah, Panic was amazing.
Yeah, which was based on a novel. And then he was in The West Side Story. And now he's doing his thing in this one. Kind of a humble role, but still a memorable face. And then it's got Tom Hardy in this. Yes. And it's got great Austin Butler, Elvis. All you girls out there that love... and then we have some cameos from some people. Then we got Jodie Comier.
Who, if you have not seen Killing Eve, everyone run out and go watch Killing Eve, because that is what made me fall in love with that woman.
I'm not gonna lie. Her performance in this is like very standout. She pretty much carries the entire story. So before we talk about what we think about this movie, because I think we both have mixed feelings about it. I don't think we're gonna be on the same page with this one, but let's talk a little bit about what it's about.
Yeah.
You want to take that?
So it is based on a book. It was a photography book by Danny Lyon. It's from the 60s.
68.
And you're right. And he followed. So when Danny decided to do this, his references were Hunter S. Thompson, who everyone should know from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Also, he wrote Hell's Angels, the book. Hunter S. Thompson traveled with the Hell's Angels for years and wrote a book about them, which I have read. I love Hunter S. Thompson's work. He also followed Kerouac for On the Road. Okay. These were the things that were in his mind when he said, I want to follow the Vandals and I want to make this book. He became a full-fledged member of the Vandals, and he was with them for much longer than just the year that is covered in this book. So the film is based on the photography and all of the audio files from the book. And they actually used 70% of the film's dialogue is from the original audio.
Now, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My extent, the knowledge that I had was that it was based on the photographs, but the story was fictional.
Some of the story.
Yeah. So I don't know how much of it is, because I thought the story was pretty wild, but cool at the same time. But we'll see. So the Bike Riders, what did you think initially? Walking out of that theater.
It fell flat.
Flat.
I think before I get into things that I loved, because there were things that I loved, but the movie as a whole fell completely flat for me.
Yeah.
It was underwhelming for what I expected. I went in because of the topic of the movie. I went in for three amazing actors that I love. I will watch anything that Tom Hardy is in. Taboo, if you haven't seen it. He made it. Amazing. But it fell flat as a whole. How about you?
For me, I enjoyed it, but I enjoy it for the performances. Okay. I'm a sucker. I've told you, I'm a sucker for the human behavior storylines.
Yeah.
It could be dry as hell, but if you're doing real things and real people are doing real things and the behavior is something that I can relate to, then I'm kind of sold, regardless of how dry, how slow it is, because it is a slow burn, ladies and gentlemen. Like, trust me, it's slow. And then there'll be times where you're probably looking at your watch and you'll be like, where's this gonna go? But I was completely sucked in with Hardy's performance, Austin's performance. Like, these guys showed up. Yeah. And then Jodie, she
carries the movie.
Yeah, she's like the narrator without really narrating, because she's still acting, but she's telling the story as it's being told. For me, it works, but I understand where you're coming from, because if you're not into, it's like reading a book. It's like a picture book. If you're not into reading drawn out stories, you may fall off midway through and be like, I'll get back to it when I get back to it. But if you're into it and you like what you see, the characters are intriguing to you, you'll finish the ride.
And I also wonder, for me, if it's a case of, and maybe it's the journalist in me, of the research of I want all the information before I go into a film. So I was already excited about the movie because of the actors, and then I did a little bit more research, and then I went in expecting something that I didn't get. Yeah. So as a whole, like you said, Tom Hardy and Austin Butler are amazing.
Yeah,
their performances are crazy good.
Yeah.
And I think that lifestyle they portrayed a little half-assed, I think is kind of why.
Really?
Yeah. So I feel like without giving away too much of the story, how that motorcycle club was started, I think is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that the lifestyle of becoming just from a group of guys that love motorcycles to becoming an outlaw motorcycle club, I just don't think they did that well.
It was a little rushed.
Yeah.
They don't really show a progression of that, so I can understand that. For me, you're making some good points, but for me being a casual, because I'm a casual going into that lifestyle. Like, I don't know anything about riding. I know some people that ride, but I don't know what goes on in their clubs for the most part. But I found it intriguing. I was like, they were believable to me. Like, I'm like, these guys, it was a brotherhood. Tom Hardy's character, I can't remember his name off the top, but
Tom is Johnny.
That's right, Johnny. Yeah, that's right.
It was Johnny and Benny.
You see something that he cared so much about just kind of slip away from his hands.
Yes.
And that's a relatable story. Like, you have this thing that you've nurtured, you've built it up, and then it's to the point where it's like, where does it go from here? The only thing to do is kind of go outwards, and then it just kind of spins out of control, and it's uncontrollable. He can't even contain it at this point. And I just think that's a relatable story for any entrepreneur, anybody that's cared about something that they're trying to build from the ground up. What happens when that thing becomes this uncontrollable monster? So that's the thing that I latched onto so much in this that I thought was really interesting. But storytelling wise, I can see where there's a few plot holes and things that just kind of just I don't want to give away too much, but not the ending, but what led to that ending.
Yes.
That was annoying.
It was.
Because they don't give you enough. I mean, I guess they do give you a little bit of backstory of this individual character who kind of comes into play, just seeking power, let's say. Seeking power, and
and he doesn't do it like Ghost does.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, you might not know this. My first television show was called The Ride Motorcycle TV, very similar to what Norman Reedus does.
Yeah.
He travels along and shows you bike-friendly places and cool places to ride your motorcycles.
I remember that show.
So I did this for Nesson back in 2001 for 4 seasons. So I have my motorcycles license. I was on motorcycles all the time. I was always at biker bars. So that's where I feel like maybe I have a disservice in my review, is that there were just a couple things that I wish that they had done, but it was absolutely a beautiful film.
Yeah.
It aesthetically was, cinematically, it was beautiful. Watching, I mean, to get 20 bikes, 30 bikes, driving down a road, bike by bike, two by two, and shoot that. I can't imagine the insurance that the movie had to pay, because that's really, really hard, and it's really, really dangerous. And they all obviously rode their own motorcycles.
I was thinking about
There's
that.
no stunt riders. You can see them on the bikes. So it was, that aspect of it, and the actual performances, I feel like were absolutely amazing. So I wouldn't tell anybody not to go see this. I think go see it.
I think this is going to be one of those to each his own.
Absolutely.
I thought about that too when I was watching Austin when he was driving down the road by himself on the police chase. Yeah. I was like, I wonder if that was him the whole time. And then he turns, I'm like,
it's him.
Yeah. So no, I told. There's some good stuff in this. Good
there
scenes,
is,
and it seems like everybody is doing their their own stunts on these bikes. Those scenes when they're riding side by side together, yeah, that's all real. Yeah, I mean, I get your points, but I'm gonna be the one that says to each his own.
Yeah.
I think you should check it out.
Absolutely.
She's saying you should.
You should totally check it out.
You should still check
You
it
should
out.
totally still check it out.
But
for me, it was underwhelming for what I thought I was getting.
And this is coming from someone who actually rides, who's been in the culture.
And it's not Sons of Anarchy. If you're looking for a Sons of Anarchy thrill motorcycle club movie, this is not it. This is a more on the road style, very slow paced beginning of a motorcycle club, not an outlaw club. I think there's a very, very specific difference that I think the marketing kind of failed on.
That's the question that I get a lot. Most people are like, when they saw that I saw it, they were like, is it like something? I was like, no, not at all.
Not at all.
It's a human interest piece. It's about people, human behavior in this lifestyle with some fictional drama.
Yeah.
It's very dramatized, I'd tell you.
Absolutely.
Very dramatized. Like, typical rise of power type shit, you know, Game of Thrones on bikes. Like it's really crazy. I mean, that's all I gotta say about it. I don't know. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I go see it.
Yeah, definitely go see it, guys and girls. It's still in theaters right now. Bike Riders, directed by Jeff Nicols, starring Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, Mike Faist, Jodie Comier, and there's a cameo from Norman Reedus.
There is.
Unrecognizable Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
And that's all we got to say, guys. And of course, for more movie news and television news, check out wearecritics.com. Follow me at KlepCX everywhere on every platform. And Crystal, where can they find you? You
guys can follow me everywhere at Chrysalie. And I can't wait to go see Horizon this weekend.
Oh, Horizon, that's right.
Yes.
That's the what's his
Kevin
name?
Costner.
Kevin Costner. Yeah. I'm in there too. But I got to see Kinds of Kindness first.
Yeah, I got to see Twister, but you know.
Twister.
Now that we've survived one.
We'll see. All right, guys. Until next time, check out wearecritics.com, and we'll talk to you all later. Peace.